what to do when WebRTC runs over TCP. So let's remember, we don't want our calls to run on TCP, but sometimes we can't help it. That's the only way for us to actually make that call.
Yes, I mean, WebRTC only does TCP when it has to, so you're typically in a situation where WebRTC over UDP doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
The question then is really, okay, can we tune it to work not quite as terrible as it does over TCP? So remember, TCP is lossless, which means that we come to the question, what happens if you get packet loss?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have that on the TCP leg of the call. The question is really then, okay, but do you use TCP all the way to the other endpoint, to a media server, or are you running over turn TCP? And the answer is different in those cases.
Okay, but the intent is to let's try to remove or reduce or disable some of the retransmission mechanisms and forward correction mechanisms inside WebRTC, because TCP does that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Not well, but it does that, and we don't want to interfere with that.
Yes, but if we're talking about turn, you always need to make sure that when it goes to UDP at the end of the turn server, the stuff still works.
Yep.
So it's complicated. And one of the things that you can do easily is to say, oh, we're using a turn TCP server, let's reduce the bitrate. Let's cap the bitrates at a different value than we do for UDP.
Yep. There's another thing that you can do, and that's not use TCP, which means I'm not going to do these calls if there is TCP. And that's what a lot of call centers are doing today, or gaming platforms, because they don't want you to go through that route. And they assume or prefer you go and troubleshoot and figure out how to use UDP instead in your network.
Yes. All the game streaming services are like, oh, if you use TCP, your performance is going to suck so much. Just, we don't support it, because that way they have less support inquiries.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.